All right. I'm kind of hoping that this is working a little bit better now. We'll go a few more seconds just to make sure. Welcome to Monday. Good morning. Dobre utra. Dobre dein. Not dobre dein. Dobre ranok. That's what it is. Buenos dias and all of that. Today, you get what you expect. What do you expect? That's my question. What do you expect? And a really cool quote by a guy named Erich is be careful how you interpret the world because it is like that. Cool thing about Erich that I discovered also is that he was born in Bohemia. So technically he's Bohemian. I'm Bohemian. That's super cool. I was really excited. I was like, oh, look at that. And if you don't know, Bohemia was a place a long time ago. It's basically a Czech Republic now. And I think Bohemians are just gypsies, so they just kind of like, you can have it. So what do you expect? What do you expect? It's Monday. That's why I thought of this. And because of something, a little story I'll tell you about yesterday and some things happening in my life. I get to move after being in the place that I just moved to about 5 months ago. And the reason I get to move is because they sold the property, and that's fine. It is what it is. I found out, though, that I need to do some things that I hadn't planned on doing, like moving some things in a shed so the owners could get to their stuff so that they could move their stuff. And then I realized that 90% of the stuff I had in the shed was actually things that I need to take to the dump or to somewhere. And I had other big plans for yesterday to work on a project for a client and on and on and on and on. And I just spiraled out of control into this pit of despair for a very short period of time. Like, holy crap, I have a lot of things going on. And I've talked about this before, right? And I was focused on, and wasn't, it gets back to, you get what you expect and what you focus on expands, and be careful how you interpret the world. And the world was just crazy, so many things to do, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, if you stop and think about it for a minute, there's only one thing, there's only one next thing to do. When you start focusing on all of the things to do, it becomes overwhelming. So focus on the one next thing that you need to do. And if you want, here's what I did. I picked, what's the one next thing I can do that will make, like the book The One Thing by Gary Keller says, what's the one thing you can do that will make everything else easier or unnecessary, or I think something like that. And so I did what I needed to do. And since that screwed up the rest of my day, I decided to plan my week and cook the food that I needed for the week and prep all of that and do a few other things that makes the rest of my week so much easier. So that's what came from that little story. So what do you expect? Do you expect everything to be difficult? Do you focus on all the difficulties? Do you focus on all the red lights? Do you focus on all the terrible traffic? Do you focus on the amount of things that you have to do for other people that you don't want to do instead of the things that you get to do, that you've chosen to do? That's the other thing to remind yourself. Choice. You get to do, are you doing things because you have to or because you get to? There's, as I choke, there's so many ways to look at everything. And you might as well look at it from the bright side, because otherwise life can become pretty miserable. But it's not. It's pretty amazing. So stop, take a minute, and tell me, with all of our craziness going on, what's the one thing you can do today, especially on a Monday? Here's another way to look at this too, real quick, is pay attention to kids, pay attention to children, and watch them, especially if you can watch them grow from being infants, and watch how they're conditioned to expect a lot of times the worst, to focus on the negative, all of these things. The kids don't know that Monday is supposed to be a terrible, oh, Mondays are bad. No, they're not. It's another freaking day in the calendar. It's the fact that you may not be appreciating the fact that you woke up this morning. I remind myself of these things too. I don't have Mondays and Fridays and different things like that just because my schedule's weird, but I used to. If you watch kids, over the years, they progressively become more jaded for no reason other than that's just what everybody else does. Mondays are bad, Fridays are good, weekends are awesome, holidays are great. No, they're not. It's all great. It's just it's just your perspective. Be careful how you interpret the world because it is like that. And that applies not only to your little world, but the entire world. You can apply that to politics or anything else you want. Okay, rant over. Tell me what's one thing. Tell me what's your one thing that you're expecting this week. One amazing thing you're expecting. And with that said, speaking of amazing, have an amazing day because it's better